We're at the abortion mill in Fairfax, Virginia. This is Eaton Place. We go to a few different ones that are in this area. There are a couple in Falls Church that are right next to each other. But this is the one where the 40 Days for Life campaign is going to be held. And we, as Pro-Life Unity, are supporting this. Our national director, Jonathan Darnel, is heading up the campaign for 40 Days for Life at this location. And we've got probably, oh gosh, there's over a dozen people, probably almost 20 people here that have come out to attend this kickoff for this location. There are going to be people here for the next 40 days in front of this abortion mill praying and encouraging people not to have abortions. And of course what we're praying for is that the location will close. That's the ultimate end of what we would like to happen.
This is the 7th nationally organized 40 Days for Life campaign in the United States. And I think right now they're up to 238 locations around the world, which is really good. They're starting to grow, and they're bringing a lot of people out here to these abortion mills that have never been out here before, especially Christians. I haven't been doing this a long time, but I've spoke to a lot of people who have, and they all agree it's high time. It's high time the believers started coming out.
I'm with Jonathan Darnel, and you are the National Director of Pro-Life Unity, and you're heading up this 40 Days for Life effort out here in Fairfax, Virginia.
Right.
And what do you think about 40 Days for Life and its impact? Do you think that it makes a difference in the battle against abortion?
Sure. It's the first thing. I mean, I haven't been doing this for a long time, but talking to people that have been doing pro-life for a long time, I know that 40 Days is the first thing in a long time that's been bringing in new people to pro-life work. Simply because it asks them to, hey, just come out to the mill, pray, get your feet wet, understand what the issue is all about. And it's starting to work. I mean, I think they're up to 238 locations worldwide now. I mean, yeah, you can't deny they're starting to have an impact. Who was a great Christian apologist and author, said this. He said every abortion clinic should have a sign over the door that reads, "This facility is open with the permission of the Christian churches in this area." I am sorry to report that it's still true today. I've spoken to a lot of churches in the past few weeks, and all of them are ostensibly pro-life churches. And if you speak to anybody in that church, they're going to say, hey, I'm pro-life. I don't agree with abortion. Sure. But there's a grave difference between saying that you're pro-life and living that out. If we say that, you know, we don't agree with our next-door neighbor being murdered in cold blood, but we don't do anything to prevent it, or do we really care? Can we really say honestly that we care? Right now, the Christian church, well, it's been at a crossroads for quite some time, and we're taking the wrong path. We're saying that you can claim you care and don't do anything about it, and just that doesn't fool anybody. It doesn't fool the world. It doesn't fool God. The church needs to take a bigger stand, and starting with 40 Days for Life, that's a good place to start. I've been all around the city talking to churches in the past 3 weeks, and although I've got a lot of encouragement, I hear a lot of, leave us alone. This is not our business. Find somebody else. This has caused some pro-life leaders to even say that we should just leave the church behind, sadly. Mark Crutcher, the head of Life Dynamics, who's a man I very much respect, even though I've never met him, says this in his notebook, Access. He says, "I guarantee you that if the pro-life movement called a press conference to announce it was going to surrender and disband, the 3 happiest institutions in America would be the abortion industry, the Republican Party, and the church." He goes on to say, "When Africans were being captured, bought, sold, and brutalized, church leaders conveniently decided that slavery was none of their business and looked the other way. When the Nazis began to slaughter millions of innocent human beings, also claiming that their victims were not fully human, the church again decided it was not their business and looked the other way. I believe that the silent and dormant church is the abortion industry's single greatest ally. The abortion holocaust could end overnight if just a fraction of the nation's 600,000 churches became active in the battle." And I'll tell you, this is echoed by such men as Martin Luther King Jr., who also said that the biggest group of people that would prevent the Negro from finding full suffrage in his community was not the bigoted white man, but apathetic white people and apathetic colored people. Well, folks, that has to end, and I think it should end here and now. and it can end here with the beginning of 40 Days for Life.
A lot of people are afraid to come out to an abortion mill. Many people don't know what it is, and they think, wow, that's a scary thing. I don't know if I can do that. I mean, it's not as if you come out here and steel rain falls on you, right? I mean, but it's something that's important to do. So for people who might be afraid of it, what can you say to them, why they would do it and why they shouldn't be afraid?
Well, certainly, an abortion mill is not meant to be a comfortable place. People die here. This is where the rubber meets the road as far as the satanic world versus the world of God and the world of everything right, if you know what I mean. But, nothing generally happens dangerously at this mill to adult persons, so there's really not a danger there. It's just kind of an emotional a thing that often gets you when you're out here. But that, frankly, that's good. We should have that. We should feel uncomfortable at this location because of what goes on here. I don't want to detract from that. But it's nothing that I think any adult person has to fear. And so I urge everybody to come out and get their feet wet and see what it's like.
Here we are. This is the place. This is where it's happening. You need to come out too. Pro-life, it's not just a word, it's an action. It's something that we have to do, not something that we just say.
Right.
All right. When you see abortion mills, you don't really think anything of it. I mean, it looks like a regular building, a regular everyday building. But inside there, they're dismembering human beings inside women's bodies. So you can't just drive by and pretend it's not happening, because it is happening. So look it up in your location. You can go to the 40 Days for Life website, 40 Days for Life with a 40, 40daysforlife.com, and you can look up your location, see where yours are, and you can join an effort like this. Participate. Come on out. There are plenty of people that do this kind of thing, and we have to stand for the unborn. If we don't, of course, they'll die alone. But there are enough people in this country and around the world who are going to make sure that that doesn't happen. So be one of us. Come on out and join us.